Hello, and welcome to our podcast, Cultural Attractions Pioneers. The series is dedicated to exploring the latest innovations for professionals in cultural attractions, whether for museums, heritage sites, or travel attractions. I'm Shahar Grambeck, and I'll be your host. I'd like to welcome you all, whether you're a curator, a visitor experience manager, or simply passionate about heritage, this podcast is for you. Today, we're thrilled to have Sander Olo with us. Sander has vast experience working with both AR and VR with museums, including Estonian Museum of Natural History. In other words, Sander is helping museums change the world. Right, Sander?
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining us. Sander, it's wonderful to have you here, and we're all curious to hear more about you and your journey in the world of technology and cultural heritage. So maybe we'll start by if you can say a few words about both yourself and the XR project that you were involved so far.
Thanks. My background is quite colorful, I have to admit. By profession or by education, I'm a geophysicist, but actually I haven't worked as a geophysicist ever. I accidentally ended up working in a museum as a geologist curator. I think it was 2015 or 16. And I imagine if someone would have told a 20-year-old Sander that you will be working in a museum, then most probably, I would have laughed him out. But uh, I gave a finger and I fell in love in museums. And the reason I chose geology as a thing to study in university was the big story behind Earth history. And I've always loved talking or telling stories. And I think it was the little tick that put me working in a natural history museum and a geologist. And as I started down in the basement with the fossils and all the minerals, I parallel thought about clever ways how to make this really complicated topic understandable for everyday non-geologists. And soon in few years we ended up in developing a big temporary exhibition in our small museum to recreate the geological periods in a physical room. And during the process of planning, I think we were sitting in designer's office. We had some 3D animators in team, and I think I had an idea that and I asked from the 3D animators, is it really complicated to take these animations that we are working on at the moment and make them 360 degree animations, like to put them in VR goggles? I think it was in 2017. VR
Wow.
was VR was in baby steps at that moment. I think Samsung had these headsets that you could put phone inside, and I think Oculus had some hardcore devices attached to a computer, and some other, but everything was really in the beginning. And when the
Google
animator said,
Cardboard, I think Google
"Oh
Cardboard
yes,"
was the one that with cardboard you could put your phone and see around.
and I think it was, yeah, clever idea to put VR in masses. But yeah, that meeting and the answer by the 3D animators that it shouldn't be that hard. We just have to expand the 3D world a little and put the 360-degree camera inside the animation and voila, you've got a 3 VR experience. So I think it was the beginning of my experience technologies journey.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, it was very early stage, and I guess that it was more challenging, but there is a lot of exploration to do. Was a lot of exploration to do back then. What were the main challenges back then that you faced uh, in order to build an immersive experience in VR in the Natural History Museum?
I think in the beginning, the biggest obstacle was where to get the money to build the thing, because we had an idea that it's possible to do, but none of us had experience building VR experience in a museum. Back then, museum director Heidi was quite into new technologies and experimenting. Also, I was a new employee with a fresh perspective, and I was definitely younger than today. And she always had an idea that there's usually museums complain that there's not enough money for I don't know, doing something this or that. But she had a mentality that money is somewhere always. You just have to find it. She was backing our project and said that yeah, do it profitably. So it put a little pressure on us, but I think yeah, usually I think this place would be the main obstacle for others to start working on the content. But luckily for us, we were already working on the 3D content for the physical exhibition. The idea of the physical exhibition was that we use projectors and beautiful fabrics on the wall to recreate seabed, ancient seabed into the exhibition hall. But the animations on the wall would have been 3D animated according to the fossil finds from Estonia or neighboring areas. So we already had the 3D sculpted ancient creatures. They already had been animated to move. And so now we just had to expand a little. It's like ultimate recycling the resources that you already had. So that made this process a little easier, and definitely it made less costly. And we just had to change the narrative also a little, because now we had a person inside the sea, and you had this 360-degree viewing option, and you had to spread all the action around the viewer. So this was the first challenge. But it was manageable, but we were a little bit afraid of new technology. We had flown like Superman with Oculus devices, and we all had this experience. But there were articles saying that many people get sick watching, seasick watching VR. We were really concerned, but if we end up making something wrong, then visitors might get negative experience, and next time if some neighboring museum does super awesome VR experience, then visitors who had bad experience in our museum um, probably would say that, oh, I don't like it. It's 3D goggles make me sick, and no, I don't like it. So in a way, we had this inner pressure to make really good content that wouldn't make people sick. That's why we tested a lot in the beginning. Luckily, we had some partners from Samsung Baltic. Um, they gave us some devices to test. In the beginning, they said that they probably will give us the devices for the VR cinema as well, but in the end, something went wrong and we had to buy these devices. So, but it didn't matter because we had the cinema in the end. But yeah, we tested a lot, and we were focusing on the budget was very limited, so we were concentrating on the head devices that we mentioned before, the Samsung. I don't know how they were called, but we were combining the Samsung Galaxy phone and the headset. It was simple, it was brutal, and we were thinking that if some part failed, like the phone or the headset itself, then we can change the part quite easily, and it was, I think, one of the most robust device back then, and we were optimizing the whole content for these devices. So I think in the end, when we finished the content, then it took the maximum out of the devices. So these little things, firstly, big challenges, budget, we managed that. Secondly, to make a content that is engaging and would make visitors want more from other museums. So and optimizing for the devices, and these were the three main challenges for us creating this VR experience.
Yeah, it sounds you felt a lot of responsibility. As for many of the visitors, it was the first experience that they had with VR, and you want to make sure that you wanted to make sure that they have a good experience. So and from what I heard, it went really well. One other thing that I want to ask you is, you mentioned those enormous challenges of both the content and the technology and the know-how, at least back then, that you had in the area. I wanted to ask you what brought in the director. What I mean, in any project, there's the risks and opportunities, and you mentioned a lot of you talked about the risks. Um, in order to convince the director of the museum, what opportunities uh, did she see, or did you discuss that you thought that it was worth the while to take this risk and build that experience for the museum, even though it was a very early stage technology?
I think firstly, I asked a man who I knew who was providing like this very basic VR experiences. He came to the site and with his devices and showed people what VR is. So I think the first main thing was that I had to invite this guy to the museum, and everybody who was interested in it, including director, they were able to test this technology and how immersive it is, and how it engages visitors, and it's truly future technology. So I think it was one of the key elements to sell the technology and sell the point that it is really uh, worth pursuing. And secondly is that sometimes even museums want to be the first in something, and it's like get some publicity, and if it's like I already mentioned, that we already had the content and we just had to tune the content to work on VR headsets. So it's like half of the work is already done. And the third thing was that we had some plans that this content would be would cost some extra money for the visitors, and and in that way we can earn back the investments, and we don't need to just pour the money in, but we can get the money back to do some other cool projects.
Yeah, that sounds smart. I mean, to monetize the content, the unique content that you're building, there was an opportunity to increase the revenues of the museum and earn extra money based on the content that, even in your case, you already had this content, so you just needed to fill the technology layer and provide it as accessible for the users and the visitors that came to the museum. I wanted to also ask you, if I may, about after this very successful project, you had also an AR project later on. Can you share a little bit about that project, please?
Yeah, I think all these technologies are like an evolution, because this AR project also outgrew from this this VR project that we were working. Because I think at that time, around end of 2017, 18, there was already some hints that AR is coming, and I think there were some very basic experiences that you were already able to use your phone, which was really, if I imagine, or if I think back of that time, like 5 years from today, and the phones were definitely less capable than today. Then these first AR experiments were showing me that this is something special. Oh yeah, I remember the HoloLens came out, and I was invited to test the HoloLens, and if I saw the the site, the view angle was quite small, but still, if there were some random alien robots coming through the wall, and it felt so real, even if they looked little primitive, but it looked really real. And then I understood that there is something special with AR. During that time, I also read an article about visitor engagement or human engagement with the content. And there I developed so-called avatar theory that everybody knows Avatar movie, which was 3D, made in 3D and totally immersive. Yeah, big guys running on in the jungle of an alien planet, and everything looked so cool, so good. So, but still, if you came out of the cinema, then you felt you had seen some kind of cartoon, because you knew that it isn't real. But same time, if your friend came out a parallel movie, let's call Independence Day, where big alien ships come above every major city in the world, and they blow up Eiffel Tower, and it leaves bigger impression because you have been to Eiffel Tower, or probably you know the Eiffel Tower, and you are like, this is my Eiffel Tower. So then and the article was that people tend to engage more with the content that they already know. So I understood that our VR is very good uh, to show the world what the world looked like millions of years ago. It's only technology that we can use to show visitors how like this is the closest thing to a time machine that we can probably ever build. But if we want to show how the but yeah, in the end, they still think that it isn't like very real, but it's a little cartoon. But if we want to show that this animal was real, this piece of rock, gray rock, was really a fossil, a creature that ate other creatures, then and make it permanent to make it permanent. Experience, then we should use AR because we can bring this animal from the cartoon to the reality, like today in your known environment, and in that way we can make a bigger impression. So uh, we started recycling the 3D models again. Basically, we took all the 3D models that we sculpted for the exhibition and the VR. We had to optimize a lot to make them work on the handheld devices, and we had to test a lot because in the beginning we had an idea or the wish that the visitor can come in with their own device or device that we give them, and they can um, revive any fossil that they point the device onto. So, uh, but in the beginning of AR technology, AR was quite slow, especially even if you have had optimized all the content. Then you, our first testers, they came into the exhibition hall with the iPad. Oh, it doesn't work, and we were you 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 had to you had
Be
to
patient, patient.
yeah, you had to point the device for a few seconds on the to the fossil, and then after these few seconds, this animal would turn into, or fossil would turn into an animal, the animated animal. And then we understood that okay, people don't have any experience with AR also. Okay, we have to teach them AR, how to make them, how to make this more user friendly, and we made these really big stickers that we had to stick on the floor that point your device here. And after pointing the device onto that sticker, then they came to life. But yeah, the main thing was again trying to uh, test, trying to recycle all the content that we already had produced for previous exhibits.
A question about that. You mentioned the recycle of the content and that you needed to optimize the content because not every content that you might have as a 3D in high resolution is ready for hand device as mobile phone. What do you mean optimize? You mean by reducing its quality, reducing its polygons? It sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, basically, we were trying to find the optimum quality for the models that they would download fast and still look cool. So polygons, I think this is the most simple part usually because actually, if you are looking at moving um, creature, then it's the polygons are already covered with texture, and if you like cut the number of polygons but keep the texture file or texture resolution quite high with good all the maps that you have to put into the to make this texture look as realistic, then yeah, you can leave an impression that it's a very high detail creature walking in the room. But yeah, definitely our aim was to make them more realistic, but the limitations at that moment were technological limitations at that moment were definitely limiting us, and then we had to make them look a little more cartoonish than we wanted, but still I'm giving you a good example that if you have a centimeter by centimeter piece of fossil, the thing is that the bigger the animal, the smaller probability that you become the whole body fossil. So Estonian area in Devonian in 400 million years ago was riverbed, and this means it's high energy environment to fossilize. Usually that means high energy environment to means that this riverbed is always moving, and if you die, if you are an animal and you die and you set on the riverbed, then probably the river currents will move you around and you fall into pieces, and all the pieces probably in the end will fossilize. So, but there were quite big fishes living here during this period, and nowadays we have small pieces, maybe a few centimeters by a few centimeters left of them, and it's very hard to tell that. You see this few centimeter, few by few centimeter part. This was 2 meter fish swimming here. So with this technology, we just put that fish like above your head, and you get the magnitude in a second. And if you were and if that thing was moving, then that site already was so impressive that usually visitors don't pay attention to smallest details.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Take those small parts that might be result from different creatures, but same type of creature, and to like a puzzle, build them up and understand and show how it looked like. I think it's fascinating. One question that I had is uh, when we talked before the interview, before the episode, you mentioned something that usually I don't hear a lot, but it's very insightful about having the AR experience for the pre-visit. To have visitors get some sense about the exhibits or about the experience even before they arrive to the museum. It sounds like something that, if I remember correctly, was also as a result of COVID. But I do think that it also has some value nowadays that people can understand and learn about the experiences and the content even before the visit, just as a teaser, to afterwards bring them to visit the museum.
You're right, because in the beginning when we started with the project, we had an idea to make invisible things visible for the visitors in the museum, and but just after we went live, I think half a year later, COVID-19 came, and our secret layer in the museum went to top secret layer because everything was closed. People were at home, no visitors. Personnel was gone. Everybody were sitting at home. So we had to come up with an idea how to create content for visitors that are at home. So we came. Actually, we were parallel thinking already when we were developing the application itself, because we already sensed that it's very hard for the visitors. It's very hard to explain visitors that you need to download an application just for the museum visit. So we were already trying to figure out some little candies to use this application after the visit or before the visit. Depends when you download the application. So we kind of were already working with so-called AR cards to use at home or somewhere you decided to use. So actually, yeah, we when we were working on the application, then we were trying to figure some ideas how to convince visitors to download the application, not just only for the visit, but to give them something extra. So the main thing why we developed this was, of course, COVID-19, but we get to that COVID-19. But we already had started with developing the application with some AR cards. So in the early concept, it was like every kid who visits the museum gets one AR card. So each AR card contained one animal, random animal. And they were all the creatures that lived in geological past, and some creatures that live today in Estonian nature. So AR cards were a way to something physical you could show to friends, maybe your relatives, and use it to bring some creatures alive. So yeah, so basically we had to work on something to make people use this application longer than only maybe half an hour or an hour in the museum. But yeah, then this COVID-19 came, and our secret layer that you could use with your phones in the museum turned into top secret layer. So visitors were at home, museum workers were at home, and we were thinking we have the content, but how can we provide this content to the visitors? So we turned our sites to AR cards, and we thought, just looking at the 3D model walking on your tabletop isn't that sexy. We need to put something extra. So we had a quick development, and we added audio content, and that audio content was also pretty clever, because we tried to create audio content that is funny, educational, and especially like these all Pixar and Disney animation movies, that there are some jokes that the kids don't understand, but if adults hear them, then they are like, so it's a little reason why to go to the cinema with your kids. So we try to create audio content similar to Disney movies to have that educational and interesting and a lively part for the kids, but still be a little bit funny for the adults as well. So to have this whole family experience, and we kind of have two options to. We were posting these physical cards, or people were visitors were able to download the PDF of these cards and print it out at home and use it for AR content. And I think that teaches us that actually AR is probably a very good tool for pre-visit or post-visit experience at home, because usually if visitors come to the museum, then they want to see the things, like the real things that museums are presenting. I don't believe that future museums are big white rooms that you can display anything you want, because what's the point to coming to museum to a big white room? You want to see that real thing. You want to feel the bones of the T-Rex, and or to see the real painting of something. And AR is providing the opportunity to bring these maybe hidden gems, because museum treasures are enormous. They can't put everything into display because the museums are physically limited. So basically, AR or VR can bring these things that are usually somewhere in the cellars into your living room or your bedroom or your into the school. So I think it's a way to prolong your museum experience, either before the visit or after the visit. And during the visit, you can concentrate all the content and all the humans that present the content to you in the museum, in the physical museum.
It's very insightful. I mean, there's so many ways we can use this technology, but we should also be aware of the limitations, as we said, that if you come to the museum and you're just in a white room without any exhibits, just with the VR, so what's the point coming to the museum in the first place? Maybe one last question about what can you share about your current project, the things that you're working nowadays? So whatever you can share, I think it would be great to hear about that.
Nowadays, now I don't work in the Estonian Museum of Natural History. I'm at the moment freelance, growing kids at home and changing museums. And at the moment I work with another natural history museum in Estonia, Tartu University Natural History Museum. And we are trying to use AR to make guided tours in the museum, physical museum. So I'm kind of breaking my idea that we shouldn't use AR in the exhibition itself, but this idea is sounded so intriguing that I accepted the offer to cooperate with their museum, and we are trying to figure out the ways to implement AR into the museum visit, because it's quite complicated environment. They have several different floors. They have different parts of the exhibits, and usually it's people tend to crave for freedom. I want to choose my own path in the museum, but actually deep inside they want some guiding because you have so many options in the beginning. You just need the beginning of your journey. So we are trying to figure out how to make that. It's technologically it's quite interesting because we are using Matterport model as the base model for AR. Basically, it's a very good base model for orienteering for the device. We are also cooperating with VR from Austria. and they are providing the platform for us. So all the content is from our side, but yeah, the main thing about their technology is that we can have that real life Google Street View alike guidance in the physical museum environment, which is really good. Even very good if you are lost in the museum and you want to find the basic thing like the toilet or the entrance or the exit, and I think this tool is quite clever to use, and maybe in the longer term, in the future, we can use that technology for people who are blind. Maybe we can use that as a way to guide through the complicated parts of the exhibit, but still they can hear the explanation or the all the descriptions meant for them. So I think this technology has some interesting ways and some other interesting projects as well. So in Estonian Maritime Museum and some others.
Sounds you're very busy doing good things. And I want to address what you said. It sounds like that makes a lot of sense that people do want the flexibility and freedom to explore things in their own way and decide what to see and when. And on the other hand, they need some explanation to get some guidance what they're seeing. So I think it's a great opportunity. The project that you said, and including navigation, the Wayfinder, to find themselves around and to understand where's the exhibition that they want to see and where's the exit. Some museums, especially the big ones, are like a maze. It's very hard to get around. So listen, it was yeah, please.
Sorry, but yeah, I wanted to add some extra that this digital content, the AR content, is it's always hard to explain that museums are very into the physical room, and they understand that if you make an exhibition, that exhibition or permanent exhibition, then it lasts 10 years. But in the AR or the digital layer, we can change everything like in a day or two. If something doesn't work, then you can change it very quickly. You don't have to wait for years. So my idea is that also with the current project is that we need to test a lot with the visitors, and if there are some things vague, they don't understand, or they still get lost, then you have to change quickly. And these technologies, they are so simple that even a person from the street can manage the platforms in few hours. So I think don't be afraid. Just start using. And usually these applications don't have buttons to destroy the world. So just push all the buttons.
Yeah, it's very important to explore.
Yeah.
What does this button do and the other one? So just to conclude, I wanted to say big thanks. Thanks a lot, Sander, for sharing both your knowledge and experience with us today. And it really sounds amazing. I mean, it sounds like a lot of work and hard work, but from what I see, you're enjoying it every moment, every minute of that. So, so I'm happy for you, and I think it's very exciting. This these experiences to build them. So a big thank you to everyone listening. I hope you got some great ideas. I got a few. for making museums and heritage sites more exciting with technology. Please subscribe us, leave reviews, and tell your friends about our podcast. Join us next time for more interesting talks, and saying goodbye until our next episode. Take care, and thank you, Sander.
Thank you.